Hey everybody, Ed from Brainpulp TV.
Travis back as well.
And we have returned from the pre-release. The pre-release was actually 2 days ago now.
Today is Tuesday. It was Sunday afternoon we went.
Yes.
We didn't do the Saturday thing. We went Sunday.
Yes. So it was a couple days ago.
We went. We showed up.
We actually went.
First time doing it.
And yeah, this is your first time, so why don't you let me know what your initial thoughts of...
I had a lot of fun. I did. It was very different. One of the major things that I found really funny, we talked about this a lot, was when we play on the show, we've learned to read off cards and, it's so for the camera and everything for the sake of the people at home. And during these kind of things, everyone was going so fast, and I still felt the need to read my card and make sure they understood before moving on kind of thing. And so I found the pace different.
Yeah, it's the first time I played. I don't want to say the first time because technically I did one years and years ago. But for the Khans of Tarkir pre-release that I played in, that was one of the things that I was a little surprised at, is how quick everyone was going. I didn't fully realize why, except for the fact that those timed rounds seem like you have a lot of time, but it's amazing how quickly that time runs out.
You timed out at least once.
Yeah, I timed it in my first match, so we ended up with a draw. My opponent, I was down to 1 health. I had launched a comeback. So it looked like I was gaining momentum, but when you're down to 1 health, you're like a shock away or something, or there's so many different cards that can kill you. So if we had more time, I'm assuming my opponent would have ended up winning.
Because I think she had 18 life because she fumigated your ass.
For the third time. 3 games, each of those games in that match. And the second game, I knew she had it because the first game she pulled it on me, and I still managed to pull out and win that first game. The second game, after talking about how great Fumigate was in the first game with her, and just sort of discussing in general how it's I love being able to pull that in a sealed pool or in a draft and all that, and going on about Fumigate, I forgot she had Fumigate, and I walked right into a Fumigate. She had so many cards in hand in the second game, and I'm just well, I'm just going to press my advantage, and I just flooded my board with all the creatures I had in my hand. And the very next round, Fumigate. And the second she did that, I was I just played into Fumigate. Just unbelievably, I just did exactly what she wanted. And then she was just able to beat me on a board race. So, but yeah, we
I gotta laugh at him for that because he's a big fan of the white mass removal, especially, we play a lot of multiplayer when we're on camera.
Yeah, Wrath of God is one of my all-time favorite cards in Magic.
A lot.
Yeah. And there's no way of knowing that I would have lost the last game for sure, but once again, she's at 18, I'm at 1.
Yeah.
Even though I was well, don't call it a comeback because been there for years, but that was a draw. So I did end up drawing 1, and then tell me what your record was.
My record, there were only 4 matches instead of, I assumed there'd be 5. There's only 4, which was plenty. It was 5 hours we were there. I lost my first one, 2-1, and then I got a bye. Pardon me, and then I did really well on my third one. Everything was going right for me. Everything was going wrong for my opponent. And then the last one was actually really tense because it was back and forth. It went to 3 matches, and it was even close. It was a, I can't remember his name, but he was very good. He was quite a serious player too.
He seemed laser focused.
And he knew every card. I didn't need to read them to him, apparently. No. But I gotta just say one thing. My first match I lost, but I at least won 1 match. But it still went, as I said, very fast, as I'm talking very fast. And I was done before anyone else, and then I had the bye. So I ended up with this hour and 15-minute chunk of time.
Yeah.
And it was, I ended up with 2 wins. If not for that bye, I wouldn't have won packs, which we'll get to in a minute. I did win.
When you're playing, the time goes quickly, but when you have a bye, it just seems to last forever, right? So,
and everyone's playing. So I just kind of walk around oh yeah, there's some cards there, and there's some accessories. I promised myself I'd stop buying accessories, but there are some nice ones. Yeah,
it's maybe they gave you a buy. Maybe you look like a buyer, and they're let's give this guy a buy because he looks like he's going to spend some money. So
counted as the 2 wins I needed to, apparently.
Yeah, but
I might have also won. You'll never know.
Yeah, because I mentioned that to you when you said you had the buy in the second round. I'm well, then that counts as a win, right? So no one. I shouldn't say no one. I'm sure there's some people that are thrilled to get buys. But when you come to play, buys are sort of a double-edged sword because in one hand, it's a win, and the other hand, like you said, you stand around for an hour and don't get to play. And
I was there primarily to play. I knew I wasn't going to win much anyway. And the one guy told me, hey, it's a good thing. I didn't really know what you were saying first. I didn't understand that it counted as a win. But in the end, I did walk away with three packs for my pseudo breaking even record.
Well,
So
when we initially talked about this, we had mentioned that we were expecting 5 matches. So we were talking about what we were hoping to get and what we thought we were going to get in 5 matches. It ended up being four matches.
Yeah.
So anyone who ended up with a record where they had, I believe it's like X and 2 or something like that, better than X and 2, was guaranteed to get 3 packs, which I thought was nice. I thought it was it's better than you get Magic Online a lot of the time when you play in stuff. And I think beyond that, you get more prize packs. I'm assuming. I ended up.
I assume the guy I played at the end got more prize because again he was very focused and
yeah,
did well.
I'm not sure. It depends on how he did in early rounds because I had a draw, a loss, and then last 2 were wins. So my record was slightly worse than yours because of the draw. But oh no, you had 2 losses. Yes. Oh, my record was slightly better than Travis's.
I was entirely even.
But oddly enough, the person who beat me was the guy who beat you in the first round.
Yeah, he had a nice black deck. If there's a second color, I didn't see much of it.
Black red
because it has like unlicensed disintegration.
Yeah,
got us both.
And apparently splashing with one planes. And I can't remember what card he had that he was splashing with 1 planes for.
Gambler.
But he his deck was amazing. I had a slightly slow start in the first game, and that's all he needed. And his deck was just, I mean, he had unlicensed disintegration. He had
the 2/3 Death Touch lifelink for 2 black mana. I had one of those. I chose not to play black. I regret it because that card I was seeing in action. Amazing.
He also had the all creatures get -3/-3, and you may now play a 3 cost or less card, I think it is, from your hand for free. And it's like board wipe and immediately gets to play something, right? So yeah, his deck was really good. And as well too, not to say that this is the reason. It makes me feel better that we lost him because I think he went undefeated.
I think so, and I know he did well.
Vincent. So I felt pretty good. I couldn't remember his name.
I remember Vincent if you're watching.
I remember. I believe the last person I played, his name was Raj, I think, and the first person I played was Ashley. But yeah, I forgot Vincent's name, and then I can't remember the second to last person I played. Anyways,
when I played Bai.
Bai was a horrible opponent. He was the one thing that you mentioned before is about reading the cards, because that's what we do when we play the Mana Cave for people watching at home, and even just for us as well too.
Yeah, we've gotten that habit too.
Because I drafted the Kaladesh so much in Magic Online, I knew a lot of the cards from Kaladesh. So what I ended up doing a lot of the time was I would read out the cards if it was from Aether Revolt, but not from Kaladesh, because I'm assuming that usually, and if the opponent doesn't know, the opponent will just sort of ask to see the cards as well too. But yeah, I was completely in that pattern initially of reading off the cards. I think it actually helped because I think both me and my first opponent Ashley were still learning a lot of the cards because a lot of them are new, right?
And it might help them underestimate you too. If you look like this is your first time, never underestimate having people underestimate you.
But it's
write that down.
It's weird because live Magic, with the same amount of time that you get for Magic Online, I feel at the end way more rushed playing live paper Magic than I do usually. I mean, I've timed out with Magic Online before.
I see somebody flipping.
But it seems like you have so much more time in Magic Online than you do when you're playing live, and but you still have the exact amount of time. So I think part of it has to do with time doesn't stop when you're shuffling, essentially. But overall, I really enjoyed myself.
I did too, and I did well, and then I scored 3 packs. And I'm going to share some of my cards I got.
That's right, because you had
Kari Zev was my promo.
Yeah.
So I was pretty much going in red from the get go, and then I think I was weird, and I opened my Kaladesh packs first. Get the crap out of the way.
Yeah.
And I pulled Nissa, so I'm like, all right, I'm pretty sure I'm grueling this, even though I sold myself on black green before we went into it. And then I did pull Tezzeret. So 2 Planeswalkers and a very nice. I'm just going to quickly gripe that I feel if they're giving you Kari Zev, they should give you the monkey token.
And you got
the kit.
And when she's foil like that, they should give you a foil monkey token. It's only fair.
Apparently, I also brought this out, the energy token, which I think was lacking in Kaladesh, and it's.
Yeah, they didn't.
I thought I saw them, but maybe they had a prototype going somewhere. But that was actually kind of handy too, because
Yeah.
this set too had a lot of energy.
I was sitting across from you, and I think it was the very first pack you opened had Nissa in it. Because you were
Yeah.
like, do they purposely pump up the power in these pre-release kits? And I go,
More
no, I think it's just
conspiracy.
random. And you're like, okay. And then you toss down Nissa, and I was like, oh my god, that's great. That's super great. And then a few packs later, you're like, no, I think they overpower these packs. And you toss down Tezzeret. And meanwhile, I'm opening up not like horrible rares, but nothing like with that type of value or power.
Yeah.
So, I
think Gruul, was a good choice too, because again, pace-facing players were probably better than me. Gruul,
yeah.
you just go. You
And
just go with Gruul.
The other
Red,
thing
green.
is you could try playing both Planeswalkers, but now you're looking at a green, black, blue build, and like you
no
said, you had strong red cards.
Two
so
shots.
you could have tried 5-color fun stuff, but that doesn't usually work out well.
And how about you? Did you pull anything you wanted to talk about? Any tokens you loved?
Barala's Expertise was my promo card, and
Nobody wants a 5-mana promo card.
that's
not a Planeswalker.
it was unbelievably useful. I played an opponent who had 2 of them, and this card is, this is, for those of you who don't know, we put it up on screen, but I'll read it anyways. Return up to 3 artifact and or creatures. This is sorcery speed. 3 and 2 blue. Return up to 3 target artifacts or creatures to their owner's hands. You may cast a card with a converted mana cost 4 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. So if you look at it that way, for 1 blue mana, you are essentially returning 3 artifact or creature cards to your opponent's hand. It doesn't even have to be opponent. You can actually return your own creatures as well too, and then you get to cast a 4-cost creature for its regular cost. So as a 5-mana sorcery, yeah, it's rough. Not that difficult to get out there.
You get a good refund,
and it's a huge game changer. It changes the pace, and it actually pretty much won me at least 2 of the games that I played overall. So
it does look pretty in foil.
It looks amazing in a foil. The other cards that I got, there's now with Caught in the Brights, which is it's a common, but it's the enchant creature. It's basically a passive effect. Creatures can attack or block when a vehicle you control attacks, exile enchanted creature. I didn't have any vehicles. I only opened 1 vehicle in my entire pool of cards. But between this and Revoke Privileges, I had, I think, like 3 pacifism effects, and then I also had Ice Over, so I had a lot of locking down their creatures.
Pseudo removal kind of thing.
Pseudo removal. Multiform Wonder, one of the rares.
That was an all-star in the pre-release by loading ready run for Kaladesh, actually. It performed really well there.
It saved my ass. Essentially, a lot of the 2 times that I ended up using it, it basically became a pumped up chump blocker, which I also gave lifelink to. So not chump blocker, so I actually trade, because I would trade with it, because it pumps itself up to a 5/1. So you can usually trade with whatever they have that's bothering you. And you can give it flying as well too, so even if it's a flyer or something like that. So the 4/4 hexproof creature, which has improvise, for example, this was able to stop it, and I was able to get 5 life out of it, which is great.
Yeah, because that one only had hexproof.
Yeah, it's
just hexproof.
That card's amazing as well. I had one of those in my deck as well too. Lifecrafter's Bestiary, which I will now draft and play in any deck
You
I
were
can
loving
find.
the scry. I saw you scrying all the time with a smile on your face.
You get this out in turn 3. You're scrying at the beginning of each upkeep, which is amazing when you're playing in limited. And whenever you cast a creature spell, you pay 1 green if you do draw a card. So this was really, really good. It was really, really powerful, even though it wasn't like an offensive card.
Yeah.
It was great because I was able to constantly filter what was coming towards me. Then another one, which is not a huge, like, nasty creature or anything like that, but was definitely a creature that opponents seemed to know was going to be a problem, and they immediately tried to focus and get it off the board, is Verdant Automaton, which I think I was calling Automaton.
Is that the common artifact?
Yeah, it's a 1/2.
Yeah.
And it's pay 3, 1 green, put a 1/1 counter on the Automaton. Now, the thing is, early in the game, it's just a 1/2 for 2.
Yeah.
But if you're playing this like turn 6, 7, when you already have a decent amount of mana up, people want this off the board immediately, because you can hold back mana and just start putting counters on it. You can put the counters on at the end of their turn, and then even if you want to, follow it up with counters on your turn. If you have 8 mana up, you're putting 2 counters on it per turn. It gets crazy very, very quickly. So this also ended up being a huge, even if it was just the fact that it was taking removal away from my opponent because they were focusing on this late in the game. So
I had one or two of those. I probably should have played them.
Yeah.
I chose not to.
I didn't mention I played a 3-color deck, which I think in our previous video I was saying I was going to try my best not to do.
Yeah.
But I went green, white, and blue. Originally was going to play, saw a lot of my cards. Originally I was going to play white, red. But I didn't have any vehicles.
Yeah.
So I was opening up the cards that were really great with vehicles, but you don't have any vehicles, you don't play them. So then I switched to 3 colors, and I got to play Ornithopter as well too, which
is Ornithopter uncommon?
Yeah, it used to be common back in the day, but
so it is still good popper.
Yeah, and the one card I had a lot of cards with the Revolt. So if something leaves the battlefield, you get before that card is played, you get an extra bonus.
Yeah,
Renegade Map when you're playing a 3-color deck was amazing. Not just to fetch lands that you wanted, but also when Renegade Map enters the battlefield, tap it, sacrifice Renegade Map, search your library for basic land card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. I ended up having a combo with it where there's the Revolt creature where when it comes to the battlefield, return a card with converted mana cost, I believe it's 2 or less, from your graveyard to the battlefield. So you tap map, sack it, grab a land, play this card, bring map back out, and then I was able to easily fix mana. And that happened at least in 2 of my games where I didn't have to worry about not getting the colors I wanted, because if I had an opening hand with 1 land and a Renegade Map, I kept it. I ended up keeping it.
Yeah.
Because it ended up working out for me every single time. So that was another card where, up until playing it, I didn't realize how useful it would be. And now that I have played it, I will probably draft it. I mean, it's not going to be like first pick, first pack if you're doing a draft, but it's definitely a card where if you're trying to play 3 colors, yeah. Like, it's the same sort of thing with Prism. What's it called? Something Prism.
Yeah.
Where it enters the battlefield, draw a card, and then you can filter it for whatever color mana you want. It's great. This is a great card to help with mana fixing. So yeah, that's. I'm gonna do a video going through my entire deck along with my pack openings because I was able to walk away with 3 packs as well too. Travis kept his packs.
Kept my packs.
I misunderstood. I thought we were gonna do a separate video opening up packs, so I went ahead and did that. But Travis kept them.
I kept them.
So you're gonna open them up right here?
Yeah, why not?
Do you want me to?
No, I'll just hold up.
Okay. So you've already opened up 2 of the 2 planeswalkers.
Yes. So if I could get a masterpiece, I'd be just.
Oh god, if you got a masterpiece, that's the thing. Neither of us got masterpieces, which is unfortunate.
I'm stuck in a corner here, but I know it's a token and not a masterpiece.
I've been watching a couple of the box openings and seeing people crack some pretty nice stuff.
So this cat monkey scrounging Bandar, I shocked the guy twice. I got to shock the monkey, and I felt so bad because it comes in and it's like,
yeah, it comes in with 2 1/1 counters, and at your upkeep you can move it. That's one of the reasons why I played Ornithopter. And I had it, I think it was at least 3 games where both of them were in my opening hand. Play Ornithopter, play that next turn, and then you can start moving counters to Ornithopter. So now, all of a sudden, Ornithopter is not so weak.
The last guy I played who knew what he was doing took the 2 counters from this, put it on a 2/2 flyer. So this one to the graveyard, Revolt triggered.
Yeah.
He played a card, you got to bring this one back.
Yeah, probably the same one. Yeah. That's another good combo.
It was a good combo, too. Yeah. And also, Mobile Garrison is not a flying.
Even though it looks like it.
It looks like a drop shot.
Well, yeah.
So, there's that Death Toucher. I played him.
Oh, the Ooh.
No, it's Tezzer's Touch.
Oh,
I wanted to copy that. That's the other Scissors one, and then another copy of Call for Unity. I got one of those. Man.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know, is that one any good, Call for Unity?
Which one is this?
Like 5 mana for a Revolting enchantment.
Revolt at the beginning of your end step. If a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, put a Unity counter on Call of Unity. Creatures you control get +1/+1 for each Unity counter on Call of Unity. I mean, it's 5 cost. Late game, obviously, it would be quite nice, but
in a board stallers.
I don't think it's super great. But I wouldn't turn my nose up to it.
I didn't get any Prey Upon, which when playing Gruul was unfortunate.
I had one in my deck. It was quite useful several times. So. Because one of the problems I had with my deck is I had a lot of pacifism effects, like I mentioned before. A lot of things that lock creatures down. But there are some creatures that just do work for my opponent just being on the battlefield. So I wanted to try to then, on top of that, remove those creatures, and a lot of the time I couldn't. So, sorry.
I got the Felidal Guardian, the cheap combo, one part of it. And I got a Merchant's Dockhand.
Oh, okay.
1, 1, 2, 3 in a blue. Tap it and tap X untapped artifacts you control. Look at the top X cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand and the rest in the library. Not bad. And
Yeah.
a foil Ironhead Cruiser.
Ooh, okay. So one of the vehicles.
Yeah, I found that one's
6/6
crew cost.
Crew 3.
Yeah.
Crew 2 is great. Crew 3 is okay. Crew 4
It's annoying.
is annoying, yeah. And then anything above Crew 4 can be really, really annoying. The player I played first, Ashley, she ended up having the combination of the mythic 4/4 flying vigilance vehicle and the 6/6 vehicle where it has the ability you pay 1 white and 1 of anything and you can automatically crew another vehicle. So she had both those up. So it was like she could crew the other one using the ability, attack with it, it wouldn't tap. And then the following turn on my defense, she could then crew it still and then use it to crew the 6/6. So she had a 4/4 attack every time and a 6/6 block every time she wanted. So
my last rare would be the Quicksmith Spy. 4 mana for a human artificer, 2/3. When Quicksmith Spy enters the battlefield, target artifact you control gains. Tap, draw a card for as long as you control Quicksmith Spy.
it's not a bad card. I actually kind of like that whole line of cards. There's the red version is like Shock on a Stick, I think it is. Deal 2 damage to, I think, target player or creature, for as long as it's in play. But it's a 2/3, which means it's out of shock range.
Which mattered.
Yeah.
I was saying, Vincent had mentioned it the previous day, Saturday, he was saying, and I was excited about getting 2 shocks in my pack. Like, shock this world, man. Look out. And he was saying that they were finding that shock actually kind of underperformed. I think because there are a bit of 3 or 4 tough powered creatures, you know? So, yeah, it's just the way it kind of went, but
that really surprised me because, I mean, just looking through the cards I had here, we're looking at, like, there's a lot in this set where the power is greater than the toughness. Renegade Rallier, for example, is a 3/2. There's tons of 2/1s. There's tons of 1/2s. There's 3/1s as well, too. I mean, there's not a lot in this set which is out of shock range. So I thought shock would be very useful in this particular block.
And I did literally, I got a guy down to 1 health, and then I'm like, what was the best move? And I think I did a bad attack, which was obviously blocked, hoping he might do a spell and tap some mana, but he didn't. So I'm like, well, he's either got or doesn't kind of deal, and I shocked, and I won that match. I was just like,
so you won with a shock. That's pretty nice.
I won with a shock twice. But to be honest, the one time I didn't really need shock because the next round, I think my opponent was stuck on 2 mana, and I was just grueling him to death.
Your first opponent, my second opponent, who beat us both, like we owed him money. He was crushing me my third game. In the second match that I was playing, he crushed me in the first game as well too. But I knew that if I could just top deck the right card, maybe I could sort of like turn things around. So I was in total top deck mode. I had about 3 opportunities to pull the right card, and then the last card ripped off the top, Ornithopter.
I remember Ornithopter, yes.
And I pulled it, and I just started laughing my head off, and then I threw it down, and that was pretty much game.
Because you should have seen this guy when he was trying to do his construction. It was like Robert Langdon, and there's equations going by, and this Ornithopter was like, I'm going to keep Ornithopter.
It was like in the
Ornithopter is going to be the card.
It was as if the entire deck hinged on it, and it really didn't. It was like I was fighting to keep it, and I'm sure I cut any number of cards that would have been better were cut from that deck to keep Ornithopter in it, because I really wanted the Bandar Ornithopter combo. And there was a couple other combos which would have worked with as well too. I had a few things that would give counters to anything that had counters on it already. So I was just envisioning this Ornithopter getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It only happened like 1 game, but it was worth it.
Giant Ornithopter.
Absolutely worth it.
Was it worth it?
Well, my idea was I wanted to win at least 1 game with Ornithopter. Like by attacking with Ornithopter for the win. That didn't end up happening. But it worked well as a chump blocker. It kept, once you put a couple counters on it as well too, because it's 0/2.
Yeah.
If you put 1 or 2 counters on it, it's either like a 3 toughness or 4 toughness. That can block a lot in this set.
And who's going to want a Shockithopter or an Ornithopter?
That's the thing. It's a subtle threat. It's a subtle threat because everyone sees it and it's like, okay, well, who cares, right? And they forget about it.
On the Ornithopter.
They forget it. I had someone swing in, forgetting that Ornithopter was 0/2, and it had 1/1 counter on it, so it was able to block their 2.
It is the opposite of unforgettable. In fact, it is very forgettable.
And so I stand by my decision to keep Ornithopter in my deck. I shouldn't have fought for it as hard as I did when I was doing the deck construction, but yeah, that's...
Well, even then, there's the one red mana, +3/+3, and I think trample is an artifact creature.
Yeah.
So, but it has to be attacking, and it has to be an artifact to get the trample.
Yeah.
Steve is here, which signals the end of our post-pre-release.
That's right.
It was our
post-pre-release. So, thank you to Play and Trade for putting on a great... and thank you to all the opponents as well, too. Everyone was very chill that we were playing, so that was really great.
Oh, actually, my wife.
Hello.
My wife bought some at Lululemon.
Ooh.
That's not like it's Victoria's Secret or anything.
Well, that's something pretty for Travis.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you guys very much for watching.
I will pre-release again all over the place.
Yes, I have to get...
Not just because Lululemon.
Yeah. We're not sure when these videos are all being released. Because I'm
clearly too late.
I'm currently hoarding all the files like a squirrel hoards nuts in the winter. But I will get the files, some of the files of Travis, so that we can both start editing at the same time. So soon, hopefully, you'll be seeing this soon.
So it's somewhat relevant anyway.
Yes.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching all of our Brainpulp stuff. Any final?
No.
Pre-release.
I wish I had something, but I don't.
Pre-release next. Right, check it out. I'll be back.
And remember, if you're going to tap it, sleeve it.
Because you'd get Tezzeret and that carries that.
And I'm really forcing that to be my tagline.
Ornithopter.